Alright guys, so my last video I told you I was going to convert my standard size Luba to the high model. I finally got the axles in. Took a lot longer than I expected, but they finally came in. You can see the difference between the standard and the high model. So it's basically just moves the whole chassis up a little bit. Here's the rear axles. So a couple things I didn't consider before was the shock mounting location. On the standard, the shock mounting location is right here in the bottom, but because you're moving the whole chassis up 30 millimeters, you have to move the shock mounting location up. They do make the actual piece for that, which I did not order. I don't have that, so I just kind of fabricated my own mounts. I just took a piece of aluminum, stock aluminum I had laying around, cut it, drilled a couple holes, put a nut and bolt in place, and we should be good to go with that. I did have to space a little bit more. I'm going to have to try to fix the other one. I did that one yesterday. I'm going to have to try to fix that one because I only have one nut in there, and I don't think it's the right angle, so the shock's at a bit of an angle, so it's not moving as freely as I would like, so I'm going to have to take that one apart and fix that one. But that was an easy fix. The other thing I didn't consider was on the charging docks. Since the whole chassis moved up 30 millimeters, you have to move up the charging pins. So I have a 3D printer, so I took that apart. I traced out the outline of the bottom of the dock. I made it with cardboard. I scanned it with my scanner and made the file, and that's what I ended up with. So if you take the dock apart, on the bottom of the dock you have these bolts here that unbolts it. I'll drill a couple holes through this, put it back in, and we end up with that. I haven't really tested it yet. I'm just hoping that it does work. It feels like it works when I back it in manually, but we'll try that later and we'll see how that works out. A couple of things I'm going to do different that I did on the first one. The front motor is soldered onto the board. Unsoldering it is pretty simple. You just put the soldering iron on there, get it hot, pull the wires off. Putting it back in is much more difficult than it should be. So this time we're not going to unsolder it. It's too much a risk trying to put it back in there. You risk burning the circuit board, you risk not getting a good connection. So this time we're just going to cut the wires and resolder them. Right here, it's going to be much easier. Or I could even butt connect them. I haven't decided yet. For some reason, Motion did put connectors on the rear motors, so they did acknowledge that they could put a connector on there. They just chose not to on the front for whatever reason. But doesn't make a difference because that's how they did it. All right, so let's get started. Oh, I'm gonna mention, take pictures. Take as many pictures as you want, because some things like this connector here, this is for the front lift sensor. This connector will fit in either hole. So you don't want to swap those. This one's for the battery. This one's for the front lift sensor. So you swap those. You have to take it apart again. You have to figure out why everything's not working. So disconnect the Wi-Fi sensor. The Wi-Fi. On this board here, you're just going to want to, because you do have another connection going in between the two. Size there, 3mm on these ones. So like I said, on the last one I did unsolder these, and it did work, but getting them back in took much longer than it should have. It took probably over an hour to trying to get those back in. I ended up having to get the solder sucker out, sucking the solder out of the holes, then getting another piece of wire, putting that through, and then soldering these onto that new piece of wire. So we're not going to go through all that again. So we're just going to snip these at a location where it's going to be easy to solder them back together. Then you get all the sealant here, so just break the sealant right there. You're going to want to dig out a good chunk of the sealant, because this connector isn't going to want to fit through. Just crack that right there, but it's okay. We'll just have to seal that up anyway. Okay, like that. Now we got to unbolt our axles. So pay attention when you're doing this. 4mm. These are Loctite. We'll put some Loctite back on those when we put it back together. So right at the top of these, they put these rubber O-rings. Put 4 of them on here. Not exactly sure what they're for. I don't know if it's for dampening when the axle's all the way up, so it's not metal on metal. I don't think it's sealing anything out, because all this stuff is moving. All this stuff is moving around, so I don't think it's sealing anything. I think it's just for damping, so it just doesn't. It's not metal on metal when it's sitting on this normal place. All right, now these 6mm are very tight and Loctite in, so I'm gonna crack them free with the ratchet. and they don't want to come out. Alright, so now you see the axle should be coming out right now, but it doesn't want to come out. So this is something I learned yesterday. These boots are actually sandwiched under this metal plate here. So you do have to loosen up that metal plate. There's grass on it here. Best way I found to do it is to take a block of wood. Once you loosen that up, you can lift this plate up and sneak those guys out. And now our axle's out. Alright, so take a slide pin out. Now I had to take this apart again because I did not notice that there are actual these spacers here that fit into these grooves. Like that. Didn't know why it was acting so sloppy. So we're not going to make that mistake again. Now the motors are bolted on, held in by these guys right here. So whenever something's Loctited, I like to loosen it by hand first. Especially small screws like this. Now you could also, on the front axle, you have these little braces here to hold the harness in. Little 1.5 millimeter Allens. Don't use power tools on these guys. None of the bits are going to be good enough. You just end up stripping that bolt out, and then you're going to be hating life trying to get it out. Okay, so now our motor should come slide out. All right, take our axle boot off. We're going to swap that over to the new one. All right. Take our new axle. And I did not consider that yesterday when I put this back together. That's not going to fit over, so we're going to have to take this guy back out. So I was getting ahead of the game yesterday, trying to fit the parts in place. So this is about the limit of my fabrication skills. I'm not very good at fabricating things. Get some Loctite. That's all I did. I just made a little piece of aluminum, drilled some holes in it, nut and bolted both sides. I did email Midwest Turf Tech to see if they could actually find the parts. I can't find a diagram for the high model. I can only find a diagram for the standard model, which doesn't help because the standard model comes with the shock mount on the bottom like that. If they're available and they're not too expensive, maybe I'll get them. If not, I'm confident this will work. All right, now we got our boots in place. Alright, so the old mounts do not fit onto these. They won't bottom out. So I did have to end up cutting this end off. They still don't really fit that great, but they fit well enough. Also reached out to see if I could actually get the real ones, but the way they fit after cutting this off should be good enough. So we're going to use our Dremel for that. Actually, starting to get a little hot. Take our grinding disc, clean that up a little bit. Might be the last cut with this blade, but I don't like throwing them away. They're expensive. Hey, we made it. Okay. So there is a flat spot in the motor, so you're going to want to line the flat spot up. There's a flat spot in there. So like I said, these don't fit the best, but they will work. They'll work. They're not gonna. That's not gonna fall out. There's not a whole lot of torque trying to pull the motor out. But if I can get the correct ones, just from an OCD standpoint, I'll try to get those. But for right now, I'm gonna roll with this. All right. All right, that looks good. Take our guide pin, washers. Oh, I forgot the harness brackets. So you can see the difference in the height. That was over here before, so this is all the extra height right there. help if I put the fish the wires through the right hole. Alright, I'm going to get a fish boots underneath this plate. So if you look under this plate, you see these two little nubs that the boot fits on. So just line that up with that little nub right there. Okay, we're back. So, as you probably noticed, I had swapped sides. I had everything on the wrong side. I don't know how I did that, but that's why the boot wasn't fitting properly, because it was on the wrong side. And then I noticed that the wheels were on the wrong side. So I probably just had the axle turned upside down when I started putting everything back together, but we're back in business. If you do notice, the wheels are opposite. On the back, the treads go out, and the front, the treads go in. So, do have everything back together correctly at this point. Alright. So, again, I got everything in place. Got my spacers in place. I put a little dab of red grease in there. Time to start bolting it all back together. Loctite, little dotted Loctite. Don't need much. We're going to put our rubber O-rings back on. Put a little drop of oil on these. So this is one of the situations where you want to take your pictures, because this harness can theoretically go under or through. So if you reference your pictures, you'll see it actually goes this way. All right, looks good. Come on. All right, guys, we're back. Um, get everything all soldered up and taped up. I don't think you guys really wanted to watch me solder, so. All right, so we got everything reconnected. Gotta put our circuit board back in its spot. All right, now we're gonna seal up our wires for our motor. Got this silicone I took from work. Doesn't have to be pretty, just make sure you get good coverage all around. Make sure I seal up our crack here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Try not to get anything on this edge here, because that's actually the sealing edge for the upper body. Alright, that looks good. That looks good right there. Alright, we're back. We're going to take care of the rear motors now. Take out the silicone, like we did in the front. In the back, they actually have this grommet here. I don't know why I didn't do that in the front. I don't know why I didn't put connectors on in the front, but apparently the guy who designed the back spent more time. Okay, just like that. Get rid of the loose stuff out of here so we can reseal it. I'm not trying to re-stick to old silicone. Alright, the back is much simpler than the front, for sure. Seals are loctited in there, so crack them free. Size. Okay, and just verify before I put it back together and make the same mistake I made on the front. Can't fit both of these in at the same time, so you gotta stagger them a little bit like that. Just check before you start bolting everything together. Like I said before, The treads in the back go out, treads in the front go in. Don't know why it's like that, but they put it that way for a reason. Make sure it's in all the way. And my other, oh, there it is. All right, just like that. Now on the back, it does have the mounting port for some hold downs for the harness. I don't have those. The old one didn't have them. I didn't realize that I should have ordered those. If I was to order it again, I'd probably get those because it gets a little tricky now trying to get this back in without pinching those wires on the frame. You'll see in a second. Don't want to break that. There we go. Okay. So now here's what I'm talking about with the pinching the harness. It has to sit. It has to sit all the way down here, and the harness has to go above the axle like that. There we go, like that. Good. Just put my gloves back on so I don't get silicone all over my hands. Put a couple zip ties on there. Where's my tool? There it is. All right, we'll seal that thing up. All right, that looks good. So now I'm going to let the silicone set up. While the silicone's setting up, I'm going to take care of the dock, put my spacer in that dock. Hopefully by then the silicone will be set up and I'll feel comfortable to put it back together. And then we're going to take it for a test ride. I'll let you guys know how everything works out. All right, let's see if this thing docks properly. All right.